On today's episode of Locked On Avalanche, we will take a look back at that Game 1 victory for the Avs and then put it aside and look ahead to Game number 2. New episode of Locked On Avalanche coming at you.
You're Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. Thank you for tuning in and making this your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. If you want to get in on the conversation, join our Subtext. Link is in the show notes below. Chat with Kyle and I one-on-one. Get your opinion, everything Avalanche related. Share it on this very podcast. We will do that when we talk about game number 2 and what kind of to expect in this game. This is the fun of playoff hockey, because while you're feeling good about game number 1, you can't dwell on it for, and I don't want to say dwell on it in a bad sense, obviously, for the Avalanche, but you can't think about it too much because you're going to get a whole new game in game number 2. So we'll get to that in a little bit. Before we get to our leftovers of game number 1, I want to throw this out there, Kyle, because I've never done this. And I threw it out to a couple people, including my wife. She was like, whatever, I don't care. Do what you want to do. I have a lot of tattoos, right? Yeah, I have a lot. And I'm usually against sports tattoos. I don't have any. I don't know. It's just it's not like a hang up, but I'm just like, I don't need to. I wear the jersey, right? I'll wear the jersey. I'll wear the hats. I'll do that. That's how I kind of like represent my team. I'm going to go down the road for these playoffs. If the Avalanche do it, an Avalanche tattoo is going on somewhere.
Oh, my Lanta.
I will do that. I would do that for this team. I would do that for the listeners and the viewers, and I'll do it for whoever, including myself, of course. But why not? Let's throw that out there. Let's get some excitement into this thing. And yes, if the Avalanche do it, a new tattoo is going on.
You're literally putting some skin in the game.
Yeah. Yeah. Literally, yes. So I know a lot of people have them. I don't, for whatever reason, just never want to get a sports tattoo for my teams, but I have a good feeling about this, and why not? Let's do it.
You know what? I respect that. I've always considered, like, this side, I've got superhero stuff.
Okay.
This is going to be my music side, but I've always considered, like, getting an Avalanche tattoo, because if you're an everydayer, there is not another team that I've root for that I would even warrant getting a tattoo, because it is nothing but a disappointment.
You want to do an Auburn one?
Brother,
no?
2010 was a national championship, the end.
And that was it?
Like, come on.
So, yeah. All right.
I'm like SEC Notre Dame. But, like, I would get behind that. That's a really good, just like the logo.
No, I was just going to say that. Like, I don't think I would just do the logo. Ooh. Like, the person that I go to is just a phenomenal artist. And I would just say, like, here's what I want. Like, here's like the Yeti foot, the logo, whatever. And or maybe incorporate the cup somehow. I have no idea.
But I would just Howler's head.
Yeah. Something like that, and just say, like, make something cool, and it would be tastefully done. So
I support this.
We'll go there. Why not? All right.
I'll text Nathan McKinnon right now.
Yeah. All right. Let's dive into this and discuss game 1 for the last time. Last time today, anyway. And talk about any leftovers that we have from that game, things that have stuck with us 24 hours after the fact. Go for it. What do you got?
Yeah, it's kind of like I have 2 main points, and, like, going back, rewatching the game, which I did, because I'm weird. I'm a sicko like that. I go back and I'll watch it again.
That's fine.
EJ was a force in that game. We talked about, like, his pickup, and, like, it's a big, like, Eric Johnson returns. What a nice story. It's like a little bit underneath, like, the Landeskog return. It's a nice story that he comes back, gets to help push, but he was called upon because Malinsky wasn't ready, and EJ looked good. He did not look like a pylon. Like, I was pleasantly surprised. Like, he rose to the occasion and he was very vital. There was a lot of, like, deep checks that he had to go after, and he was stopping a lot of advance. Like, I was very, very pleased with Erik Johnson's performance in game 1.
He just knows his role. And he's not trying to overextend himself. The team is not trying to extend him as a player. They got him back for this reason. Yeah. And somebody had made that comment up on the YouTube episode of saying, like, Malinsky, I can't remember how they phrased it, but it was Malinsky got hosed or whatever. And I was like, I get that. Like, we're Sam Malinsky guys. He had a phenomenal season. He will get time at some point in these playoffs, but I completely understand Jared Bednar wanting to go experience game 1 on the road. You want that. So I totally can understand why he went the route of Erik Johnson. And you're right. You got just a solid performance from EJ. And there was one moment where there was just a cleared puck. He's the only one going back to get it, and there's only one guy on Dallas who's kind of trailing him. He wasn't racing him to get the puck. And it came across my mind like, wow, he is just calm, cool, collected going to get this puck right now. And he should be. He's a professional. He's done it 10,000 times in his career. And not to say Sam Malinsky doesn't know how to do that. It's the most mundane play that you could have in this game. But the way that he approached it was just, and that was in the midst of the game, and he was just been here a million times, and that just I think guys will see that, and while it's just a meaningless and nothing play, it also had some value to me. I don't know why, but I watched that. I'm like, wow, he's just, and like I said, if he's feeling that way, the rest of the team is, because they were dialed in. They and that's where I was, what I was coming up with. When I was thinking back on this game, was they just felt comfortable. Like, I just felt like once they could, as long as they didn't give up an early goal, and just now you're fighting to come from behind in a hostile environment, on the road, that's tough to do. So if you could just tamper all this stuff down in the first 5, 6, 7 minutes, and then you can just get to playing your game, and that's exactly what they did. And even when they gave up the goal, they didn't panic. You didn't get that Dallas got another one 30 seconds later stuff. I just feel like the Avalanche just went to work, played their game for the duration of it, and that they have to feel good about going into game 2. Now we'll get into the Dallas stuff, but Dallas is going to change things up, so you got to be ready for that, obviously.
Yeah, and and that kind of segues into my next point, but my last thing on the Erik Johnson and why I brought that up is why it stood out. Mm-hmm. I know there was this time in between Erik Johnson being a member of the Avs and then going everywhere else and then coming back. But I remember the end of Erik Johnson's time in Colorado. It was kind of like, yeah, he's definitely going to be retiring. Yeah, he's definitely going to be retiring. Like, this is it. Mm-hmm. He's been great. It's been wonderful. And then he didn't. And then he went elsewhere, and it was just like the video packages, and it's great to see you again. Like, he was a shell. Like, it was really slowing down. And this Erik Johnson we have now is re-energized. He's knocked 3 years off his play style. Like, it's been really refreshing to see. So I've really enjoyed that. And to your point about them being dialed in, and we'll talk about Dallas in a little bit. That's what, going back and watching the game, the passing. Hey, they were leading in faceoffs. They had 4 power play opportunities. They converted on 1. It's going to be very interesting going into game 2, what the Avs are going to do, because I don't want the Avs to start slowing things down entirely to make everything crisp, because you don't know how Dallas is going to respond to game 2. But that is going to be the key. Cleaning up game 1, if they would have gone a more methodical, slow it down, simple hockey, it would have fixed the shot problem, the passing problem, and especially those power plays, especially the 5-on-3. And I don't know if you could translate that to game 2 with Dallas being down a game, what they're going to come back and give you.
Just to wrap up the EJ thing really quick, not to keep going back and forth on him, but yeah, well, how you were saying, we were all thinking he would retire after, the Avalanche Stanley Cup win. That was in 2022. It is 2025 and he is still playing. just to remind everybody of that. We were thinking he's going to retire, and he should, because like you said, injuries and all this stuff crept up with him. Hey, he won the cup right off into the sunset. Still playing 3 years later. Anyway, for the Avs, like I feel like for 5-on-5, they were the better team.
Yeah.
They were the better team. Dallas got some really good looks at that first power play. I think they got 6 shots on goal on that first power play. So they have to kind of like, you know, and I think power plays are going to be, I don't think you're going to see power plays like that for the majority of this series. When I did the crossover with Joey of Locked On Stars, it was one of the things I brought up was these teams don't go crazy with penalties. You'll get penalties here and there. That's just the nature of a hockey game. But and that's what I was thinking. Like when you was talking with Joey with this, when you get the opportunity, you got to take advantage of it. I didn't think we'd see a 5-on-3 this entire not playoff series, but as we're lucky enough to get one and didn't do anything with it. So yes, things like that, you know, if it happens again, please take advantage because they're just going to be few and far between. But for the Avs, like I do, man, I just feel like they feel good about how they played. They are ready for what Dallas is going to throw at you because Dallas makes things tough. Like Avs they're the fastest team in the league. Fastest team in the league. Dallas is not. That is where they want to beat them. But Dallas does a very good job of not giving you a lot of time and space.
Yeah.
And one thing that Dallas was not doing, and I don't watch every single Dallas game, but, you know, something that I noticed that they did usually on a regular basis is when, you know, an Avalanche player, if there's a line change going on and a defenseman is just holding the puck behind their own goalie, and was waiting for that change to come, and you have that defender that's in front of the goalie just waiting for that to happen. I've seen a lot of Dallas games, particularly against the Avalanche, where they don't let that happen. They will just circle right behind the net and go pressure that guy and force him to leave behind the net into like his safe zone and go do something.
A more active coverage.
Yeah, everywhere. So that's just one example of it. But and then just for your regular in the offensive zone and the defensive zone, Dallas just does not give you time and space.
Yeah.
So it's tough to get good shots on goal for them, against them, I should say. Like high danger chances usually are not high against them because they just get sticks in passing lanes. They're right up on you. They just make life miserable for you. And the Avs, I think what they had 24 shots on goal, but their Corsi was like almost 70. So, okay, that's good because you're generating shots, but those shots are going, you don't know where.
Yeah.
So let's tighten those two things up. And I think you might get, you might get 5 goals again, but not fluky ones like the Avs got.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that.
So, so what can we expect from game 2? Talked a little bit about that just now, but there's more that I think you're going to see, especially from Dallas when it comes to this game. We have Subtext people as well to get to. So we will do all of that coming up next. Let's hear from Amazon Fire TV. There we go. And did you know that your Fire TV is also an Xbox? You can turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required, Mr. Sullivan. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe or sign into Xbox Game Pass Unlimited. There you go. With EA Play included, and you're ready to go. Dive into hundreds of premium titles from EA Sports College Football 25 to Call of Duty Black Ops 6. And what Kyle's playing is
Indiana Jones.
Still playing an Indiana Jones game. That was on today. It was like they showed all of them on, I don't remember what channel it was on, but I don't know if that was like an Easter marathon that they wanted to have going on, but they were all on today. And I was thinking of you because playing that game.
Yeah. Nothing says Easter like the Crystal Skull.
Exactly. So head to Amazon.com/Fire TV locked on to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller are required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K, second generation, Fire TV Stick 4K Max, first and second generation, and Fire TV Cube, third generation. Seems like a lot of fun. Go check that out today. All right, so heading into game 2, yeah, the Avs. We said in yesterday's episode, you've done what you wanted to do when you're the road team, and that's at least split these first 2 games. So you have done that. Now the pressure is on Dallas. I mean, the pressure was on Dallas heading into game 1 anyway, just because of how they were playing, just struggling to get a win. Now you've extended their losing streak. So now maybe things are playing a little bit mind game-ish for the Dallas Stars, because now the pressure is on them. And while I expect them to come out and play a good game because they're Dallas, they're a good team, will they be pressing too much is the question. You have to wait and see, but it could be a moment where in the beginning they're gripping the sticks too tight. Maybe that doesn't come. Maybe if the Avalanche score that first goal, then maybe they're definitely doing that, and they're just then the monkey is on their back. But that's the first thing I'm looking for in this game. The heck with the analytics and all this other stuff. Is Dallas pressing too much because they know they have to get a win in this game. I don't think we'll see Miro Heiskanen or Robertson. I read one article from Dallas that doesn't expect them to be there for game 2. We don't know yet. But if they are not, obviously that's a huge blow to them. And the Avs, again, have to take advantage of those 2 guys not being there.
And Chris, honestly, like, thinking back on game 1, I think that's the thing that scares me the most is, honestly, when the dust settled, everybody's celebrating. We're putting patches on the big hat and whatever, all this beautiful bean footage. Like, that wasn't the Dallas Stars that we were anticipating. Weird. It felt like one of those like movies where they run into battle and you're just running and screaming and you get through and there's nothing there. Like, that wasn't the same Dallas Stars. That it was that super hyped up matchup after the Mikko trade to Dallas. Like, this is your marquee matchup. It's Avalanche versus Stars. This is like, that felt like a heavyweight fight. And this just felt like the Dallas Stars in name and same jerseys, and that you heard that horrible goal song one time, but that just wasn't the Dallas Stars. It did not feel like a Dallas Stars game. It just felt very muted and withdrawn. And I don't know if that is a mind game thing, if that's a full game feeling out process, and they're going to capitalize and hit the Uno reverse in game 2, or is this going to be the norm? And it's very hard. Like, yes, you could feel really good 5-1 game 1 on the road. That's wonderful. But I don't think I know anything else about the Dallas Stars than I did going into game 1 than I do coming out of it.
So, I mean, for me, I keep going back to, if those 2 guys are not there, the Avalanche have to win those games. They make such a difference. Yeah. That is equal to the Avalanche not having Nathan MacKinnon and Cale Makar.
True.
It is completely equal to that. Not saying those guys, not saying Robertson is equal to Nathan MacKinnon. I'm not saying that, but he's a phenomenal player and he is their best forward. So that's where the similarity comes in, is Nathan MacKinnon is their best forward by far. So you don't have him, and clearly you don't have Cale Makar. This Avalanche team does not look like what you're used to in an Avalanche team. You still have guys that can perform, but so much goes through those 2 guys, and the same is true for Dallas. So you're wondering why it just didn't look like a normal Dallas team, because those 2 guys have that much of an impact.
Yeah,
they really do. And even getting one of them back, which probably I think would be Heiskanen first before Robertson, who's the week-to-week injury status on him, that would help. Clearly that would help. But I don't know. It doesn't sound like, he either one of them are going to be back for game 2. For the Avalanche, we still don't know about the Ross Colton injury. Jared Bednar just said it was a lower body injury. Said he would know more on Monday. No, I'm sorry. He said he would know more on Sunday, because the game was Saturday. He would know more on Sunday. So we'll hear something maybe Monday morning about that. But if he's not good to go, you would have to think the next one in line to come in is Gabe Landeskog. And while I'm sure they would have loved for his first home game to be in front of the home crowd. It doesn't take away from when he eventually plays in front of the home crowd. But, this is the playoffs. You can't always have the nice, neat, cute little story. You got to go win games. And if he gives you the best chance, that's the thing. If putting Gabe Landeskog in gives you the best chance to win, you put him in. If you don't feel like he can do that, then you turn to Miles Wood or somebody like that. I don't know. But that's the thing I would be looking for the Avs.
Yeah, and I'm not opposed. Like, I get you would love that beautiful story, and that camera crew that keeps following him around would have the perfect final episode. But yeah, if we need you, come on in. And I think that's going to really help. And honestly, if you could steal 2 on the road and have Gabe Landeskog be one of the pieces to help do that, you're going to really send this series in a different stratosphere and a different emotion for this team going back to Ball Arena. Like, you feel extremely confident. The possible opportunity to go up 3-0. That's, and looking back, if you would have told me the more entertaining game in the Western Conference would be that St. Louis Winnipeg game with that Dallas Colorado slate, I would have laughed at you, but that's just how it is. And is injuries going to be the narrative through this series? I sure hope not, because this would have been the popcorn matchup. But I really expect Dallas to have a little bit more fire, because I don't think they're thrilled with their performance either.
No, I don't think. But it's funny because we'll get to that in the next segment, because I went behind enemy lines and read a bunch of articles from the Dallas thinking side of things, and how are they thinking? Yes, you lost the game, so there's a lot to be desired for them and improve. But and they're not panicking or anything like that. But I'll get to that in a minute. But just to button this up on what to expect from the Avalanche for game 2, I think, as well as he played in game 1, I think for pretty much the duration of this series, and maybe for the duration of these playoffs, for as long as the Avalanche are in it, people are going to be looking at Mackenzie Blackwood.
Yeah.
And if, you did it in game 1, great. And what do you got for a follow-up? And then after that, what do you got for the next game? And if the Avs win this series, now you have a whole new team coming to play you. Okay, now this is a different look. What are you going to do against them? It's fair. I completely understand people wanting that, but if he answers the challenge game after game after game, the Avs, they signed him to that new contract that kicks in next week. You got your guy.
Yep.
You have your guy. Even if you don't win it, but you go deep and he's not the reason why you're losing these games, the Avalanche have their guy. So definitely want to see what he can do as a follow-up performance for that game 1, because that was awesome.
Especially since the starter that you had for the season probably has played his last NHL game.
Ooh, you never know. Why are we going there? Let's not go there, Mr.
I'm talking about.
I get it.
Where you are in the goalie position, especially game 1, his first playoff start. You looked that good. Of course, that's going to be expected of you all the way through, because you have come so far and you've honestly committed a lot to this goalie. So, of course, a lot's going to be riding on Mackenzie Blackwood. But that's kind of the pressure of being the Colorado Avalanche goalie. You could be the first answer the Avalanche have had in quite some time when it comes to the goalie position, probably since Varlamov.
Could be. So, what are Dallas people thinking about that performance? Let's we'll get to that, and like I said, our Subtext crew has some thoughts on this game too. So we'll do all that coming up next. Let's hear from Gametime. Stanley Cup playoffs, obviously, they are here. If you've never been to a live NHL playoff game, it's literally unlike anything you've ever been to. The intensity, the speed, the energy in the building, it is next level. And thanks to Gametime, getting in the door is easier and more affordable than ever. Gametime is the fastest way to grab playoff tickets. Even for those must-see matchups, prices usually drop as puck drop gets closer. And with last-minute deals, you can save up to 60%. That's crazy, Mr. Sullivan. What is great about Gametime? They have priority last-minute deals, that's 60% off. It's for concerts, for sports, comedy, theater, and they're all in pricing, shows you the total cost up front, so there's no surprise fees at checkout. take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime and download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. So again, that code is LOCKEDONNHL, LOCKEDON NHL for $20 off. You can download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. All right, let's get to a couple subtext comments here about game number 2. We got Cody says, I think Makar and the second line will elevate their game to get some points on the board, while Dallas is going to step up their game because this is a must-win game for them. Gives out a prediction, 3-2 Avs in overtime. All of our subtext people just go overtime, which I love. I'm glad he mentioned the second line, because while we've talked 2 days now about what the Avs have done in this game. While I don't think the second line had a terrible game, that's the one line where you're like, okay, lines 1, 2, 3, 4. Who do you need a little bit more from? It's the second line.
Yeah.
I think you'll get it because they're too good to, just have I want to say a repeat game like that, but they could have played, if there's one line that could have played a little bit better, sure. Second line. And when you have guys like Nelson and Schuster on that line and Drury, I don't think you're going to see 2 games in a row of performance like average.
Yeah, I completely agree. 1, 3, and 4 were playing incredible. You like to see a little bit more from 2, but yep. I mean, goodness, if we're talking about 1 out of the 4 lines not performing, Avs are sitting pretty all right.
And not even not performing, just not
doing great.
Elevating, right? Yeah. Exactly, yeah. We got Madam Battleaxe here, just wanting more of the same. I know Dallas is going to come back with a vengeance, so we really need to have a better power play presence. Not going to make a prediction because when I do, we do not do well. I appreciate that, Madam Battleaxe.
Madam Battleaxe, I've been predicting a 10-goal game for how many years now?
Don't throw out a jinx. I appreciate that. Christina says, I feel like Dallas is going to come out swinging. I think they know that they got a feel for how the Avs will play. I feel like game 2 will be the hardest for the boys to win. Still thinking Avs in 6. Highly unlikely a sweep will happen. Thinking Gabe will wait to play until it's at home, or they absolutely need him, which, hey, like we just talked about, could be now. Still no Ross update though, so we'll have to wait and see on that. I never predict and I'm not talking about this series at all. I'm just saying a sweep in general. I don't like predicting sweeps. I always give, even if a team is horrible, I always give them that one home game where their fans are hyped, and I'll give them one of those home games. But it's very rare that I predict a sweep.
I did predict one in this playoffs, but
who was it?
It was Washington over Montreal.
Was it? Okay. Yeah. For me, if there is going to be one, I think it could probably be Vegas. It could be Vegas over Minnesota. But I won't even go that far.
No.
And finally, Mark, very simply, Avs in 4, or Avs will win by 4. I should say that.
Avs will win by 4.
That's what he says. Yeah.
Now, hi, Mark. If the Avs win by 4 in game 2, going back home to Ball Arena with this could be Gabe's first game or his second game. That's some serious momentum in this series. And if you win by 4 in game 2, this might be your sweep.
You're not kidding. So what did Dallas media and things like that feel about this game? Because, sometimes there's a little bit just overreaction and things like that. And I think for the most part, I read a bunch from the Dallas area, and it's not, and it shouldn't be, right? It shouldn't be too much, maybe a little bit, because of these injury problems that they have. But I think for game 1, a lot of what I read was they feel like they played a good game, and they had, those 2 fluky goals by the Avs. I read a lot about that, which I get, but when you say that, I kind of feel like you're saying that just to make yourself feel good about the loss. And fluky goals are going to happen. Yep. It's the sport of hockey. You watch that Lehkonen one over and over again, and you're like, how in the world does that happen? But on the other end, you've seen so many goals that you could say that same phrase too.
Yeah.
because it's just like it just doesn't make sense on how it hit it at just that right time. It went right in that corner of the net. How? Well, it happens. So I read a lot about that, and there was one comment from Thomas Harley, who said it was their best game in a month or two. That's what he said. His quote was, "I thought it was a pretty even game. I thought we outplayed them for portions of it. Their goalie played well, but we've got to find a way to put a couple more past him." I think that's the only true thing about that statement, is they have to find a way to put a couple past him. It's so tough because I don't want to sit here and say, like, I don't think that was an evenly matched game and then give off the impression that the Avalanche were miles ahead of Dallas. They were not. They weren't like on the scoreboard and on the ice. They were the better team. Not by miles, but were they the better team for the duration of that game? Yeah. And they were, I'll say it this way, that they were better for that game in how you should be better for a playoff game, because you're going up against a playoff team. So you shouldn't have these games where it's just total dominance from one team or another. And how the Avalanche were the better team in that game is how I want the Avalanche to be a better team when it comes to the playoffs. Noticeably, it was noticeable. And Dallas hung with them, and Dallas kept the score close, and they scored that goal and they got back in the game. That's playoff hockey. To me, does that mean that it was an even game? Or to Harley's point of they outplayed? I can't think of a time where I really feel like Dallas outplayed the Avalanche. I'm sorry, I'm not being a homer there, but I don't really feel like that statement is accurate.
I have 3 points to follow up on all of your statements there.
Go for it.
1, this is why I never complain about fluky goals or refs, because it comes back your way. We were complaining about this about 2 weeks ago. Congratulations, you have game 1, the Lehkonen, and both of those first 2 goals kind of fluky, even back out. You're welcome. Number 2, I sure hope that was not Dallas's best game in a month and a half, because
that's a wild statement. Yeah,
that's nothing I would hang my hat on, and I definitely would not make that my byline, because I've seen Dallas Stars games. I can see this roster. I know what they're capable of. And honestly, the Avs were probably the better team for 40 minutes. That first period was a wash for both teams.
Yeah.
Like, for 40 minutes, the Avs were the better team. And it's not like putting on a clinic better. They were just doing the right things and putting the puck at the back of the net, even though they were putting it all along the boards and up the glass and everywhere else. But they were at least getting the right shots and getting it by the goalie. So I really don't. For the sake of this, for the sake of the series, I really hope that's not their best game, because I know they can give more. But
he's saying like it's their best game in 1 or 2 months, which okay, fine, but that's not where you should be in the playoffs.
No.
So that's a scary statement. If I'm a Stars fan and I hear that, I'm thinking like, okay, and it still wasn't good enough.
No.
So what are we doing here? I don't know. Wild statement. Do you have more? I don't want to cut you off.
No, go ahead with the rest of yours.
And then there was one article, the whole article was about how they need more from Mikko.
So did I write that? Was that an old article I used to write?
Is that your writer's your author's your pen name? Is that what you're writing it under? And it wasn't like coming down on him and just being like, oh, if he doesn't show up, this is going to be a sweet. It wasn't. It was a very well written article, but it was just honest. It was like, hey, we are going to need you for a number of reasons, because of the injuries that the Stars have. You now need to be the guy, and you're facing your former team. Go out and beat them. So it was. I liked how it was written. It wasn't just this anger-ridden thing directed towards Mikko. It was just like, hey, bro, it's the playoffs. And this is why we got you. So we're going to need you to step up here. So I thought it was a good article.
You know what? That's a really good article. I'm going to really ruin that person's day. I sure hope they don't look up last year's playoff series of Colorado versus Dallas and Mikko's performances in that playoff series, because he was a ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was our conversation a lot. Is he actually hurt? Is he injured? He was. And like now, fast forward a year later, Dallas fans are saying the same thing. Interesting.
I remember saying on a couple episodes, it's going to be one of those things when the season is over,
Yeah.
we hear, oh, Mikko went under the knife because he was nursing this for the last 2 or 3 months of the season. I remember saying that many times.
The knife was actually just cutting up contracts that he was offered.
Oh, sick bird. But overall, I think that, it's one game, so it's not Panic City right now. And what they're feeling like, hey, while we didn't play our best game, but maybe our best game in a month or two, we hung with them. And the 2 goals that they got were fluky goals. All of that is true. But on the flip side, the Avalanche are thinking the same thing too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we can play better. And, we're going up against a team that has injuries to major players. We can maybe put them out of their misery a little bit earlier. So while all that stuff is true from the Dallas side, it's definitely true for the Avalanche side too, that they can, tighten up some things and get a couple early goals and play with a lead, which they did, but, play with multiple goal lead. So.
Yeah, and not have a wash of a first period. What if the Avs continue what they did in period 3 and period 1 of game 2? We have a completely different narrative and story going all throughout game 2.
Which is that's the playoff. We're going to get different narratives and stories all throughout. So we'll see what the narrative and story is after game 2 on Monday. So make sure you are tuned in. We'll be recording after that. That game is over for a new episode. So tune into that one. And for this one, appreciate everybody tuning in and making this your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. He is Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. I am Chris Maselli. It's the Locked On Avalanche podcast. We've made it through another 24 hours where Sidney Crosby's that much closer to being with the Colorado Avalanche.
He's asleep. Don't yell.